Moy is probably I wouldn't say hardest working person in the club,
Oh, wow.
but for sure, the longest. Like you put in the most hours out of anybody else. No, I'm not saying that you don't work hard because I think you work hard. I think you work very hard, Moy. I'm just saying that you work the longest hours out of anyone at the club.
Oh,
What does your typical day look like from start to finish? Let's say it's just a regular training day. We'll get into like the game days later, but what about a regular training day?
Regular training day, I get there about 7:30, before 8 o'clock, and I start looking at the locker room, seeing what we need, bringing out all the player stuff. Usually I have them on their loops, so I have to bring out the laundry loop and hang it up on their locker, and then look at the equipment, see if we need the balls pumped or not. Then I get breakfast with the team, and by, 10 o'clock, I'm out the door, heading over to the field to take all the equipment, and then we train. After training, come back, relax a little, get food, and then that's when I start doing the laundry. And usually that takes a couple hours just because I only have 2 machines and I have to separate it.
And then, what time do you get in? Like,
What time will I leave?
what time? No, what time do you get into the office? Like 8:30 ish,
No, like 7:30 or 8.
7:30 or 8,
Mhm.
and then what time are you out?
Around 6.
Yeah, so it's a long day.
Yeah.
It's a long day because you have to do all the stuff that comes before and after training, but you also have to be at training
Mm-hmm.
in order to make sure that we have all the stuff. Most of the players obviously show up around 9 o'clock. They get there just for their breakfast. Then they go to training. They come back for lunch. And then after lunch, they're pretty much free to go unless they have, rehab or some meetings or something like that. But you're the one that has to be there before everybody shows up to make sure everybody's got their gear.
Yeah.
And coaching staff included as well. Because like when I go into the office, Moy will have my clothes, my coaching apparel on my desk. Unless I didn't give it to him the day before, unless I forget to give it to you the day before, it should be on my desk in the mornings when I get in. So much appreciated, Moy, because it does always usually smell pretty clean. It's pretty nice, except a few times that it has been wrinkled, which
I don't know.
you pretend like you don't know how that happens, but you should be an expert at this point. You know exactly how that
Funny
happens.
that it's only your clothes.
So, how many hours would you say that you work a week?
A week? That's tough. It's usually anywhere between 40 to 50 a week. Some weeks are longer, especially if we're traveling somewhere. It's like a whole day process. I mean, I do my regular training session with the team, and then I come back and I have to start prepping. So, getting the jerseys, shorts, pregame tops, everything packed. Have an extra bag with all the extras, just to be prepared for the away game.
So, would you say that you have like a very, very strict routine when it comes to?
I think I am. I think I do have a strict routine. Like I've had people try to help me, and it just stresses me out because I do it a certain way.
Right.
And when they're doing it, even though they're helping me out, it's like stressing me because they're doing it a different way. So it
Throws you off your
Yeah.
routine. So we talked about the training routine or the training day procedures. What about a home game? What does that look like? What's the difference?
Home game is a lot longer because I show up at the office maybe 10 or 11.
And this is when we play around like 7:30, right?
7:30, yeah.
Yeah.
If we have a 7:30 game, I show up to the office at 10 or 11. And at that point, I am getting all the gear. Like I try to pack the day before, but then I sometimes have to come in and get all the extra gear that I didn't finish packing. Finish washing the laundry for the guys because I know some of them like to wear the sliders or a certain pair of socks for games, and they might have used them for the training day before, so I have to wash everything, fix the locker room, make sure we have enough towels for the home and away team. Then I head over to the stadium and I clean up the locker room, clean up the away locker room, set it up for them, set ours up, hang up all the jerseys, and then I sometimes help the crew at the stadium, but not much sometimes. Yeah.
But for the most part, you like to get there early enough so that you still have like an hour or an hour and a half of just like hanging out and being at the stadium, especially when it's warm out on like in summer. It's really nice because everybody's setting up for the stadium. And because I get there about, what do we get there? About an hour and a half before kickoff, I would say. An hour and a half before kickoff, sometimes 2 hours. But you're usually already done by that time.
Yeah, I try to be completely done, maybe 30 minutes before the team even shows up. And usually I'm done like an hour or two before the team shows up. But yeah, just try to make sure everything's all set and I can like relax a little, hang out, just so I'm not like too stressed.
Right. And it gives you enough time just in case you forgot something.
Yeah.
You can run back to the field house, which is only about 15 minutes away, and grab it or whatever. When you set up the locker room, do you have a set, like do players have a certain spot that they want to sit in, or do you just kind of do them by numerical order, or how do you set up the jerseys and stuff?
Usually the guys that have been there longer, I kind of set them up closer to the door, but also like they kind of have their like not assigned seat, but that's where they want to be. They've told me they feel comfortable. I place them next to someone that they're like really close to, someone they're comfortable with. That way, everybody's like getting along.
Yeah, because they spend quite a bit of time in the locker room before the game starts.
Yeah,
putting on their training, their warm ups or their pregame tops or whatever, putting on their socks, their boots. So they like to be next to someone that they've known for a while or they're comfortable chatting with. And then do you just put the new guys together pretty much, like all the guys that haven't been there for very long?
Yeah, and then once they start getting to know people, I kind of put them into the mix them around. Yeah.
You work very closely with the team, so you know who's friends with who and who would like to sit next to who. So that's the routine for the game day. So, well, after the game, so you get there. The game starts at 7:30. The game's done by 9:30 ish.
Yeah.
Right. What time are you out of the
stadium?
Out of the stadium.
Usually at like 11 or a little bit later. I wait until, so right after the game, we'll stay on the field, shake the Northern Guards their hands. Then they go into the locker room. Coach talks to them. Then I give them a minute for them to like eat, shower, and that's when they start like making the piles of all the jerseys and stuff. So I give them time. Once everybody's gone, that's when I come in and I start picking up the different piles, putting them in my bags, so I know what I have to wash the next day. And by the time I pick up everything that I brought over to the stadium, it's close to like 11 o'clock.
Yeah, and then then after that you just head on to the field house, or do you go home?
No, I go to the field house. I drop everything off, and then I go home.
Yeah, and then you do the laundry the next day.
Yeah, the next day.
Otherwise, you'd be there till 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. So what about away games? Because that's different. Because we can only take a certain amount of equipment, a certain amount of bags because of the luggage. Because most of the games now we're going to be flying. Yeah. Last year, most of the games we ended up flying to. How does the game day on away days, or not the game day, but the travel, how does that affect how you pack everything?
It's a little bit more stressful because if we're flying, I don't have the freedom of packing the bags completely full, adding extra stuff.
Right.
Because there's always a weight limit, and only having 3 bags it's difficult. In one bag, I usually pack all the player, like what they're gonna wear at the stadium. So, I have like individual bags that I put their shorts, socks, jerseys, pregame tops, and I pack it all. The second bag, it's like a bunch of extra stuff that we might need, and then I try to throw things in there like water bottles, cones. Last year when we went to Cali, I took a couple deflated soccer balls so we can train once we got there. And the third bag is all the bathroom stuff for the players, their cleats, and any extra stuff that they want to throw in.
Yeah, their toiletry stuff.
Yeah.
There's a funny story about one trip. I can't remember what trip it was, but when we came back, some of the stuff was still wet, right?
Yeah.
Oh, was it? And it adds to the weight limit when the stuff is wet. So we were at the trying to put the bags on the scale, and they were like a little bit over, right? So you had to flip flop between two
between
bags and
three
put
bags.
stuff.
I think one of them was like 10 pounds over, the other one was 7. The next one was like 6 or something like that. So it was just very difficult because they were all over. And then some players ended up taking their cleats, which helped.
Yeah. And then the away days. What's probably the best part about the away days?
It's I mean, the games are a little bit less stressful for me because there's not like I don't have to show up super early and clean up everything. Usually I show up to the locker room, set it up, and then the team comes in. I try to get there a little bit early, but for most of the games, the stadium was so far away that I just had to show up at the same time as the team and tell them to give me like 10 minutes. Then afterwards, I clean up everything, and I think the best part is like the next day when we get to like relax in that city.
Right, and go explore a little
Yeah.
bit. Is it hard to work with the other team sometimes when you have to ask them about like the locker room and how many towels you're gonna get and stuff like that, or most of the people there on away teams pretty?
I did struggle a couple times last year with the teams. Some of them didn't have like the best communication. So like I would message them and ask like what's gonna be provided for us,
Right.
so I know what I have to bring. And I mean, we had teams that we played against that like everything we needed, it was there. When we flew, they had cones, balls, everything. So like we didn't have to carry any of that, which makes it easier. And then other teams that would be like, oh, we can't give you this or that, and having to pack 30 towels is complicated because it takes so much space and so much weight. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.